off the cuff. So good to go.
Trini, what kind of swimsuit you wearing, man? You got a thong on? What's going on down there?
Hell no. There's no thongs allowed here. No thongs allowed.
I didn't know what kind of resort you were at, man.
It sucks because no one's looking, so look at that. It's my wife right there.
Oh, you're getting ready to get attacked.
That's awesome.
Johnny, I'm glad you could join us, man.
Oh, man, thank you for having me. I totally appreciate you guys reaching out and let me tell a story, and it means a lot to me.
Well, I've heard, and heard some of the details. Don't know all of them, but is the reception good real quick? Is it good?
You're good.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
So check this out. So we're here at the Banyan Tree. And what's cool is that's our bartender. But if you look around, there's nobody here, man. It's like we have the place to ourselves. Talk about social distancing. It's perfect. Perfect. And watch this. I'm going to head over here. Oh, yeah, but Johnny, I heard some of the details. I understand some of the background, but I'm happy you're here to be able to, give us the full story and for people to be able to appreciate that, because I've been a part of the circuit, I think since 2013, something like that. Yeah. And there's a lot of tournaments that have gone on for a long time, but people don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And just like Joe's tournament, where he has tournaments that people don't realize go to charity. They think that it goes to their team or whatever. And, he puts on events that go towards his charity. And I think it's just important for people to realize when you go to a tournament, what's it's for. And you know what? Even if it's for to support a softball team, it doesn't matter, man. We all realize what it takes to be able to put a team together and to be able to travel. And so even if it's for a team, it's just cool to be able to understand the history behind the team and things like that. So I think it's great that you're going to be able to come over here and talk to us, because obviously this is something that we all care truly about. And that's the sacrifices that we make day in and day out to be able to, provide for our community, service to our community. And obviously, with the tournament that you guys put on, it's a huge thing. So it's going to be a neat thing to be able to highlight that tournament.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I mean, the other thing is just giving the guys an escape too, giving them that escape to get away from this whole thing. So that means a lot to me to be able to provide that to these guys. So that's huge.
Yeah. How long has it been going on? I mean, I know we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, and obviously we're here a few minutes before the show goes on. So how long has it been going on?
Well, Brian was killed in 99. I started it in 99. He was killed in January, and we actually ran this tournament in September for quite a few years until the World Series came. And I knew as soon as the World Series came, because I was the third weekend in September, as soon as I heard that the World Series was coming, I needed to move it, because there's no way I was going to get teams to travel to Florida and the World Series. So then I moved it over to, I was lucky that in Florida to be able to move it over to the early part of January, February. So it's been on since 99, so 22 years.
Okay. Wow, man. That's it's crazy. I mean, I want to go up there because, I love the meaning of things, I mean, it's cool to be able to go somewhere where there's an environment. Like if they put a tournament on here, I think that it would be a great fucking tournament. But I'm just saying that if you could, when you take the meaning behind a tournament, or even an event like Joe puts on, I mean, when you realize where it's going, it just makes you want to go there even more, So check this out real quick. So there's the restaurant behind me, one of the restaurants behind me. But this is where the Bachelorette. Joe, I know you follow that. Don't even try to lie.
I know what the Bachelorette is. I don't know who the Bachelorette is.
All right, so I'm gonna have him.
Hey, Trini, quit creeping, dude. You're gonna creep her out, man. Stop.
She's already creeped out because she's actually been following us. You don't believe me, but watch this. Watch, you're gonna see. So there's multiple resorts you can go to when you're here, and you can get there by bike. It's kind of cool, but you can also go by a golf cart, and you'll see here. Watch this. So Joe just told me to stop creeping out the bachelorette girl. Or the bachelor girl, I guess, right? The bachelor girl? Bachelorette. All right, so look, I'm going to give you, before we go live, I'm going to let the girls who are into it, because I know Deanna's into it.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, so look, tell Deanna and tell everybody who the bachelorette girl is.
I've never seen it. Kathy knows.
It's Tasha. Tasha.
Yes. That's awesome.
Tasha, Deanna.
What happened?
What do you know about Tasha?
I watched almost all of her season, but I know who she ended up with because I watched I look up reality Steve spoilers. I will do that with everything. With all the shows that I watch, look up all the spoilers.
Yeah, it's out there already.
Yeah, exactly. So her season's over, but I mean, she's really sweet. I'm happy that she got chosen, so that's good.
That's what I don't know. I can't say anything. I've never seen it. I'm gonna lie, but I don't want to lie with Joe looking at me.
Joe,
Audrey,
she's had
Audrey's looking really nice today. Very nice tan. Very nice tan.
So, Johnny, this is Johnny. Y'all haven't met Johnny before.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I will meet you.
Asselton tournament.
You're showing her feet. Oh, he's doing so happy.
All right, so we are going to start this show here in just a second. But, Joe,
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to tell you is you're going to have to help me out because obviously I'm here. And so I might need a little bit of help.
We're good, man. We're good.
All right, so we got Andrea saying that we're doing an early bird special. It's true. And he goes, Deanna, can you see the comments? You can? Andrea says, Deanna needs a raise. Dude, she just got a raise. Holy smokes. She's like, hello, I'm worth more than that.
I can confirm I did get a raise, so no worries.
Andrea, look at him, tipsy Trini. Damn straight, what am I supposed to do here? Dude, do you know what it takes to put on a podcast from a freaking vacation resort? I mean, seriously, we just came from the ocean and we came to this pool specifically to be able to put on this show. So if you can't tell my dedication to police softball, you're in trouble. Yeah. So, Stu, what's going on, Stu? He says, what's up, everyone? Oh, Andrea says, where is here? So we are in what's it called? Banyan Tree, Mayacopa. So it's about 45 minutes to an hour south of Cancun, but a lot of people associate Cancun with, Cancun, and this is not that, man. This resort is unbelievable. If you're interested in, escaping the COVID deal or whatever, this is the place to go because it's, cool part is that they're at like 30% capacity. So you have a really nice resort and man, it's like you have the place to yourself. I mean, you look at the pool, there's nobody here but my family and a bartender. We keep them busy. But yeah, man, I mean, this place is really, really nice. And the service, because there's a lot of resorts, down the ways, but it's not the same as this one. So it's definitely worth it. Let's see here.
Not your typical trip to the hedonism resort that you typically take, right?
Well, that place there also has its purpose.
What's that? We going live now, man?
Hedonism there, Joe?
What was that?
How do you know about hedonism?
You told me about it, man. What are you talking about?
You know what, Joe? It's okay. Everybody can have their little freak on. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
If you understand who the freak on's with, you're good.
Are we gonna get rolling then?
Yeah, we'll get rolling. We got 4 minutes, man. Take it easy. Take it easy there. Do you want to host the show or do you want to co-host? What do you want to do?
Co-host. Let's do it.
All right. Joyce, which is Deanna's mother, very beautiful woman with Ram from Corpus, the Hooks, Corpus Hooks. If y'all haven't been to a minor league baseball game, you need to go there. It's a badass stadium. A lot of history there with the Corpus Christi Hooks, right, Deanna? Deanna's coming in. Deanna, you better. Nobody can see you. Come on in. Deanna's going to be more involved in this show. So along with you guys, Deanna's going to help me out with this show.
Yeah, it is the hook. So you got it right.
All right. Mike Jackson says, roughing it as usual, T. Attaboy. Proud of you and Audrey. Live life. I am truly trying to. You know, it's a great thing to be able to come out here. In fact, we were just talking about that, Mark, actually. It was Kathy, my sister-in-law, who was with us earlier, who said, as we're going in the little golf cart and we're going near the golf course, and it's a PGA golf course that's out here. It's really cool. She was like, this is it. This is life. You know, soak it up, enjoy the smells, enjoy the sounds and everything. Because sometimes you kind of think about like getting to the beach. We're on the way to the beach. But sometimes, you don't want to think about where you're headed. You want to realize how you're getting there. You know, enjoy the journey. That's a big thing. And I did. When she said that, it was really cool, man. Tons of iguanas, spider monkeys, and things like that. It was pretty cool, man. Joe, not certain kind of monkeys, but just spider monkeys.
I got you, man.
All right. So, because Joe was trying to talk to me about certain kind of monkeys in some wildlife type conversation we had.
Deanna, I think Trini's had one too many today, man.
No comment.
Brad says, let's go to the batting cages, Brad, because I know you live there. And then Joyce says, my beautiful daughter. That's what I'm talking about.
Thanks, Mom.
Getting gonna get some airplay today.
Deanna getting some shout outs.
I know.
Lyle Reyes. Let's see, where is he at? Look at Lyle. Salud.
What up, Lyle?
That's about as much Spanish as I know. I got a couple more in my back pocket, but salud is one of them. All right. Andrea says, tea time with Trini. There is a PGA golf course here, man. And I want to get on there tomorrow, but we've had such a great time that I haven't had a chance to go out there yet. So we're going to get it going. We're going to give everybody, Joe, if you don't mind. And, Johnny, we like to give people a second to be able to sign on. We tried to sign on a little bit earlier than normal, but I was on the golf cart trying to get here. Man, you might have to cut out, right?
Yeah, well, I still got tons of stuff to do with the tournament. So
I got you. We'll get started here in about 1 minute. That's okay with you, man.
Yeah, no rush. I just
Trini, I posted that the time on the website to try to help get guys on earlier. So
cool. All right, Deanna, what do we got? This is your opportunity now to help us out. What do we have on the schedule? What are we starting with?
So we're going to do our intros like we normally do. And then we have some, I have some things about Mexico and a certain senator from Texas. So we have that on there just in case we want to talk about that.
Y'all know about the senator in Texas, Ted Cruz?
Oh, yeah.
Is he down there with you?
I was just going to say, I don't blame the guy, man. I completely understand why he wanted to come here.
Makes sense.
But it sucks, man, because it's both ways. Like, dude, we're in a crisis. Don't leave your people. At the same time, it's like, the hell with this. I'm getting out of here, man. They got electricity. They got freaking water over there. Everything's good. Go stop acting like you got work. All right, let's see here. Lyle says, what up, Joe? I think Trini should take his co-host with him.
That's funny.
Let's see here. Lyle says, cruising with Ted. All right, so I think we're ready.
Okay, I can start the intro if y'all ready to go.
Yeah. Give me just a second. Let me get this StreamYard back because I think we're different. There we go. Joe, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's roll.
All right, man. All right, Johnny, we're ready. And then we have, who is it? Dan. We're hoping Dan can be back. Has Dan been able to sign on or not?
He said he's going to be a little bit late.
Okay, that's great. We'll go with Johnny first, and then we'll head to Brad next. All right, let's get the show on the road from Mexico. That's my favorite. All right, we are here live, coming to you from Mexico. And like I was telling everybody before, it's my first Spanish word I'm going to use. I've got 6 total, so that's the first one. So we're coming to you live from Banyan Tree in Mayacoba, Mexico. And I'd love to be able to first highlight that this would not be able to take place without Deanna back at home in San Antonio. She's all shined up and ready to go for the show. Normally, y'all don't see Deanna on the show as much because she's like, I don't want that. Leave me out of it, and I'll just work in the background. But I needed her. And the main reason is because I'm enjoying my vacation drinks with me. It got protein in there, by the way. So I'm working on beefing it up. Andreas, you know what I'm talking about. So we're here live from the pool. And I've got my partner in crime, Joe, the Hitman Monahan. That's what he told me he wanted to be called now. He was like, dude, if you don't introduce me as Joe the Hitman, I'm out. So I said, Joe the Hitman Monahan is here joining me. And Joe is the coach of the, let's bring it up. There you go. He's the coach of the Missouri Lawmen. He's my friend, number 1. He is the director of the Show Me Classic, which is there in, thank you very much. He is there in St. Louis. Show Me Classic is a great tournament. A lot of people know that, with great competition, great host, great players party. I mean, it's got, Joe, when's the tournament date?
July 31st and August 1st this year.
The Mayan dinner. It's going on right now. Can you hear it or not?
I hear something. I don't know what it is. Sounds like some horns or something.
Found my wife over here splashing around. Come say hi real quick.
I already did, baby. I don't have makeup.
She said, I don't have. Dude, you're in a pool. You're not supposed to have makeup. All right. So it's the Mayan dinner that's going on behind us. We have he's the coach of the. Right. Yes. All right. Let's go. Am I back?
We can hear you. We can't see.
Hold on real quick. My wife. Hold on. She disconnected me. Hold on real quick. All right, there we go.
All right.
Sorry.
Who's responsible for that?
Good job, Audrey.
So we're here with my co-host, Joe Monahan from the Louisville Sluggers Masters. Coach, he's the East Conference Manager of the Year and the Texas Showdown Home Run Derby champ. Weren't we supposed to do something different this time, Joe, with your title?
I don't recall, man. I really don't.
What it was. Shane, I think, asked us to add something to your title. We're gonna.
If Shane asked you to add something, it was probably something stupid. If I had to guess. Not worth putting on there. Just another terrible joke about the size of my head or something.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with Joe, and we're gonna get with Johnny, special guest tonight, to be able to talk about a special tournament that I know a lot of us have heard about, but don't necessarily understand the meaning behind it. And that's the Brian Aselton. Am I correcting? Am I saying it the right way? Aselton?
Sounds right, yeah.
All right, Johnny's shaking his head yes. So that's good because I didn't want to mess that up. He deserves to be able to have that pronounced right. So I'm excited to be able to have Johnny here to be able to talk about the tournament. It's been long-standing, over 20 years, I believe. Johnny, is that right? Y'all can't see it, but I can see him. So that's important for us. So, all right. Well, then let's get the show on the road. We are going to talk about Ted Cruz. Joe, have you heard about Ted Cruz and what was going on with our senator from the state of Texas?
Tell me about it.
I'm not saying anything because I'm here right now, and I completely understand why he wanted to come here and be here. But Senator Ted Cruz was criticized because he left the state of Texas while everybody was dealing with the icing, snow, and everything like that. And he ended up heading out on a vacation with his daughters. Now, the way it was put out there was that he was trying to just get out of town with his family and go hang out at a vacation spot. But, you know, like I know, when you sign up for a political position, everybody's going to look at that and go, hey, man, you left us when you were in a crisis. So there was a meme that came out. Deanna, I think we have it. Let's check it out. He denied having visited Cancun, but he had braids on. So when you see those braids and you've been on vacation in a place where there's a vacation spot and they braid your hair like that, it's pretty damn obvious that what that meme was intended for. But you know what? I get it. I get that he's a human and he wants to go out and he wants to be able to have a good time. But man, like I said, man, when you're in that position, you catch a lot of flack. You know what I mean? When you sign up for something like that.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So he ended up catching a lot of flack, but he got back home and he ended up, he's very pro police. And that's one thing I like to highlight. You know, he was out. I don't know, Deanna, if you have one of those pictures. There he is. He's out there with a bunch of law enforcement officers.
Where was that at?
He was out at some, I don't know the details.
What's that?
Houston? Yeah. So he was out there providing for law enforcement officers, you know. I mean, he got home and he did what he needed to do. You know, he realized how it looked. And he's always been like this beforehand, but even afterwards, he was still out there doing what he needs to do. And I appreciate that, man, because even there are some politicians who don't even do that. You know what I mean? So when you see him here with a bunch of law enforcement officers, that's cool stuff. So shout out to Ted Cruz. I mean, people can criticize him, but even if he did make an error in judgment, end result is he came back home and showed that, you know, was a supporter of law enforcement and everything that we stand for. So let's see here. John Irvin, what's going on, brother?
What up, Johnny?
Are you drinking Sansa's famous jungle juice? I'll tell you what, man. Like I was saying earlier, I've seen spider monkeys, iguanas. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff here. So yes, I am. And Andrea says, don't drop the phone in the pool. I won't. My wife already did. I learned from that lesson. Andreas goes, my daughter got those braids when we went to Cancun. It's true. They didn't have enough hair, or I would have had it done. So yeah. So we had Ted Cruz. We're gonna do a little bit of we talked about, Joe, Throwback Thursday. So remember we had that episode last week, and then we talked about Throwback Thursday. Well, check this one out. So this one is from SA Law. Figured I'd highlight them. So if you look at the 00 there on the shirt, that's Val Lopez, man. That's the first coach of our SA Law team. I'm only the second coach. We've been together since '88. So when people talk about the history of our team, I mean, there's a lot of history. And that's what I like about this little agency tournament that's coming up. I mean, it's hard to compete, you know, and I understand that, you know, with teams, especially in the circuit. But when you look at that team right there, I mean, that's single agency right there. There isn't a single person on that picture that's not a part of SAPD. And we took a lot of pride in that. You know what I mean? Being able to compete on national levels with our team. And it didn't really matter how we fared. What mattered was that we were together. We had that camaraderie. And in the end, whether we won or lost, it was still a cool environment, you know, off the field. I think we have a few more pictures, Deanna. Is that right?
Hey, Trini, I thought you said you used to play without sleeves, man. What's up with that? You got sleeves in all these photos that you're putting up there.
I was too new to the team at that point. I didn't know to cut them.
I got
After I had about 3 or 4 tournaments, then I was like, dude, these sleeves got to go. I don't even have that big of guns. I just can't freaking. Johnny's going to pose for us here in a little bit. I already know, man. That dude's in shape. So I'm going to ask him to give us one of those shots, a bicep. So let's see here. Yeah, there we go. A Hooters sponsorship there. I mean, it was really good times. And again, when you talk, there's our championship photo when we were able to win the World Series in the Gold Division. Special moment right there, because that was a year that I was able to, my team put me in a position to be able to have an opportunity to be able to end it with a home run. And I'm happy I was able to come through, not for myself, but for my team in that moment. And we won the World Series in the Gold Division. Special moments. Since 1988, a lot of history there. And I appreciate all the teams that have a lot of a part of their own agency involved in that, so it was really cool. We did, however, know that when we went to the World Series in 2013, we were probably going to have to step our game up. It's a whole different level of competition. Absolutely love it. But anyway, I want to make sure that we are able to get Johnny out about his show. So that was Throwback Thursday. Andrea, Deanna pulling up that St. Louis. Yep. So, all right. So let's go. What do we got next? Okay. So we're doing about players doing great things off the field. Is the music too bad, Joe? Are you all right?
No, you're fine, man.
Makes you want to eat nachos?
Sure.
Okay. So, all right, Johnny, I know you got to go. So we'll bring Johnny on first before we do players doing great things off the field. Yep. So we got Johnny Sanzo with us. Joe, I'm going to let you – we're going to bring John – there he is. Look at that dude. You know he works out. That dude works out. What's going on, Johnny?
Trini, great to see you. I love seeing those single agency photos. Those are awesome.
Yeah,
those are the type of teams. Those are your bread and butter teams. You got to love them.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. And that's what I love about having that idea of the single agency team, because when we were going there, I mean, it would have been awesome to be able to be a part of that, because it's a different level of things. When you start recruiting, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's something special about being able to be from a single agency and being able to participate in an event like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of times, you're not going to compete and you're still out there playing. Those are the teams that you got to love that are coming. They're coming. They know they're going to get their ass handed to them, and still they're going to show up and they're out here to have fun. That's what it's all about. Have some fun.
And I love it when you get your team together and you're interested in going to a tournament like that. Sometimes you'll hear a few people say like, "Oh man, that's man, look at the competition," or whatever. It's like, dude, let's just freaking go there. Let's see what we can do. We're only going to get better. We'll at least know where we need to be. And then, worst case scenario is that we might upset a few teams, and who knows, you might end up pushing through everyone and end up winning something. You know what I mean? If you feel like that, and that's like about, because that's one of the things I talk about is that this is what we'll talk about in the parking lot. For years to come, we'll talk about, man, you remember when nobody thought we were going to do anything? We showed up and we just kicked ass, and then we just took a bunch of people down. That's what you talk about for years to come. You know what I mean? I mean, I know you guys know that.
Well, Johnny, this weekend you got your 22nd annual Brian Aselton Memorial Tournament coming up. And I know you've been in the circuit for 30 plus years now. You're a Hall of Famer. You've been there, done that with everything, sounds like. But we wanted to have you on, so maybe you could let everyone know what this tournament means to you and what it's all about, and maybe a little bit about the history of Brian and the tournament.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, you guys, Trini and Joe. And it's all about Brian. I mean, this is got to put a face on the tournament. And this is Brian. Brian was 26 years old, and he's a good friend of mine. He was killed in the line of duty back in 99, January 23rd, 1999. And it's all about him. It's all about keeping his name alive and keeping his memory alive. So that's what's important to me. All the other stuff really is kind of meaningless. So it was an easy transition for me to go into having a tournament for him. I was on the circuit already since '89, and I was playing for a team out of Hartford, Connecticut, Hartford County Lawman. We did a little traveling. We did probably about 10 tournaments a year. We were doing Terry's tournament, Virginia Beach. We were Montgomery County, which is the Anne Arundel tournament. And we even went down to Houston with the old Ronnie Martin tournament in Houston. So the day that Brian was killed in January, we started a tournament right away in September, and just continued it from there on.
So, Johnny, I know that there are people who watch the program, and although we come out at an early time, over the time, we have people who comment on our show, and a lot of them are civilians, and they make a lot of comments. Actually, we probably have more civilian comments than law enforcement comments. So can you tell people how this hero, gave everything to his profession and to our community, please?
How we,
The
well,
situation, yeah.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Trini?
So the situation that took place, he was on a call. He
Yeah,
needed a response.
I'll give you a little background on Brian. First of all, he was again, he was 26. He only had 2 years on the job, but he came in with a corrections background, so he was completely seasoned when he came in the job. We had a group of our friends through the department that knew Brian since high school, so we all were pushing him to take the test, get on the job. Typical, I know everybody knows that guy. You're like, come on, take the test, we'll push you through. We need you on the job. Former Marine, big dude type of guy. Even with 2 years on the job, that's the guy you want behind you. He's going to be there 100%. He always had your back. You felt that from the very beginning. So our thing with Brian was he had a good time, lived life like crazy. I worked evenings with him. We did a 3 to 12:30 tour. Our thing was, let's get downtown to Hartford to the bars. Before they close down, we get out. I want you, Brian. I want you in the locker room, out of uniform by 12:30, and we're going to be downtown by 12:35. That wasn't a hard thing to convince Brian to do. So, matter of fact, we did that the night before he was killed on Friday night. So he responded to a call on Saturday night. It was a Saturday night. It was a cold night, January 23rd. It was a rainy night. Typical nothing call. It was a noise complaint. Came in, dispatcher gave it out as breaking glass outside the building. The building was an apartment complex that was above an auto parts dealer, very small apartment complex above. So typically you're probably thinking noise, breaking glass outside, maybe a smash and grab or something, or people outside partying, breaking glass, throwing a bottle down or something like that. Again, the typical call we all take, 100 times, doesn't matter. He responds to that, goes to the call, checks the perimeter with a backup, and come to find out, the call taker was on the call with a personal call at the same time and didn't relay the information properly to the dispatcher. So what the actual call was that was relayed was, sounds like somebody's getting killed inside one of the apartments. You got to get you guys down here. So again, typical call, and you have no idea what you're walking into. Comes back, asks if complainant wants to be seen. They check the perimeter, nothing. Complainant wants to be seen. Tells his backup, hey, I'll meet you down at the Shell station. I'll catch you down there. Let me just go and get the information. No big deal. Meanwhile, he's basically walking into a hornet's nest with no idea. Walks upstairs into the apartment complex, tight hallway. Ends up confronting what was going on was they had a guy duct taped to a chair. They were pistol whipping him. They had information through the street that this guy in this complex had a large sum of money in a safe, and so they were robbing him. It was a home invasion, 4 people involved. Brian's walking down the hall. The gunman comes out. They have a confrontation in the hall. Basically executes him, shoots him in the forehead with the gun. And Brian's left in the hallway. We have no idea at this point. Now we're getting calls from the people saying, hey, you got a guy down your hallway. You got to get down there. Something's going on. So we go down and we find Brian in the hallway. So that's pretty much what happened with that.
I'll tell you what, man, like you said, without a doubt, we answered tons of those calls. And it's one of those things where when I've had this conversation with my family, and a lot of people don't understand this outside of law enforcement, we accept that every time we put the vest on. And every morning that we put that vest on, every morning that we put that gun belt on, we go out there and we know that action beats reaction. It doesn't matter how good you are, and you can train all day long. It just is what it is, man. Somebody knows what they're going to do, and you don't, because of all the things that we have to comply with, standards that we have to comply with, whether it's social standards, departmental standards. We're already behind the curve when it comes to making a call like that. So when I hear you talking about that, man, it gives me chills, because I understand that situation, and not a lot of people do outside of our profession. So that right there is a hero right there, man. Especially 2 years on. I mean, dude, I understand the Marine service. That's a huge part of it, man. To be able to make that call and to be able to go up there and, man, that's why I can enjoy the freedoms that I have right now. Being able to sit here right now is because of guys like Brian, to be able to go out there and defend our, our freedoms and our securities like that, man. Badass. And that's, I want to show up for that reason. That to me, forget the fields, forget the players party, forget all that stuff. Show up for a reason like that, man. That's a shit. And I want to be there to be able to take part in that. So I'm very happy that you shared that with me, and it is a hero, man.
It's pretty awesome that you were, you're 22 years into this tournament and honoring him 22 straight years, and still, it's pretty awesome what you're doing, my man. Yep. You hear these memorial tournaments and stuff, it seems like some of them die off after 5-6 years. This one's still going 22 years. That's an awesome thing, my man. And what made you bring it down to Florida? Was it just the weather, I guess?
Nobody wants to come to Connecticut to play softball. So yeah, it's definitely, it was no doubt just the weather down there. And I was already on the circuit. So it was, we've been fortunate to have teams we had the Cal Quake come out. We had LA Red, LA Blue come out way in the past in the 90s. So, I mean, the 2000s. So we've been fortunate to even stretch it from east west. And it was a type of tournament. Being in Orlando, it was an easy flight, so it made sense just have it down there. So made things a little difficult running it, but again, it's all about Brian. I mean, keeping his name alive, keeping his memory alive. To me, that's everything. For guys to even recognize the name, I mean, to me, is huge. So, I mean. And then be able to tell his story. So teams that come, I'll tell a story. I'll post stuff on the board and stuff like that. But it's just, to me, it's not about me. It's about, keeping his name and memory alive. That's
Yep. And you're doing an awesome job, my man. You were just talking about some of the teams that have come in the past. I'm, looking at the teams that are going to be there. You got a pretty good field of teams that's going to be there this weekend. It looks like it's going to be pretty competitive. You got a lot of the top teams in there. You got a lot of local Florida teams. And I think, what do you got, 16, 18 teams showing up?
Yeah, we got 16. And again, it's I got to thank all the teams that support it, because there's been times where I said, listen, maybe it's time to kind of end this tournament. And, 20 years is a long time. And they're like, no, man, we want to keep this thing going. And I was mentioning it early, even like, Johnny Scola was a big part, back in the day when he, he's like, no, we got to keep this tournament going. So, yeah, I mean, it means a lot for these guys to reach out and say, nah, just keep it going, man. We'll do whatever you got to do. We'll show up. Not a big deal. We'll scrap 10 guys together and get down there and play. Not a big, but, a lot of teams are coming every year. So I thank all of them.
I was looking. I was doing a little research on your tournament on the website, and I'm looking through all the years, all the different threads throughout the years and stuff like that. And there was one year in particular, 2009, where it was probably the longest tournament thread that you had, and it most of the conversation revolved around a team called Labor Force. I don't know if you can kind of tell the story about what happened with that, but when you read that, when I was reading that thread, you don't see that kind of talk like on the board nowadays. It seems like it's changed a lot since then. But there was a lot of going back and forth and people wanting to go at each other and everything else. And I wasn't there, obviously, but it seemed like everything's revolved around this team called Labor Force. And I don't know if you can maybe elaborate on that at all.
I gotta be honest with you, I don't even remember that team. What was the conversation about?
Well, it was basically this team called Labor Force, I guess, who made it to the finals and then ended up losing to a team, Metro Red, and
the Miami team.
So it sounds like there was several landscapers and roofers and stuff on this team, and then they had their guys on there talking talking shit basically to the LEOs on the website, and then it just was going back and forth. And I don't know, people were they claim they're using illegal bats and shooting middle and everything. I mean, it was. If you read through that thread from 2009, it was unbelievable. Like I spent like probably an hour reading that entire thread. It was pretty. I don't know if you could elaborate on it or not, but
Joe, being a tournament director, you get teams that come in. You're just hoping to get teams,
yeah,
to fill it out. So sometimes you get a team, you think it might be a new team and stuff, and they're going to say, yeah, we're all legit and stuff, And apparently, I don't know if they are or not. And
yeah.
What it sounds like, honestly, I don't even remember that team, but
that's the only time I've ever heard of them was.
Yeah, they never showed up after, so they probably weren't legit.
They fell off after that. So, but did you by chance read the Swami's predictions on this weekend's tournament?
I did. Yeah, I love that stuff. I mean,
you have any opinion on that? I mean, on how it's going to play out? You think he basically said that the Hounds are going to take the majors, and then he's expecting Max Elite to fall down to the gold and run through that. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I was going to share some of my thoughts after if you had any.
You never know. I mean, the Hounds are tough. They've owned this tournament for the last 3 years, and Jimmy actually does a lot of help. He helps me like crazy with this tournament. So there's nowhere I'm going to talk bad about with the Hounds. If I had to choose a team, they're going to be the one that wins it. But in terms of the team out of Detroit, you got to watch out for. They got some good players.
Yep.
So that should be interesting. I know he put in there he's trying to piss them off or something. So that might be interesting.
Yeah. Talking about how the Hounds have been running it lately, and they won the last 3 years. And I was looking at the history of your tournament. Out of the last 12 years, New York teams won it 6 times, and the Florida teams won it 5 times.
Yeah.
So it looks like the majority of the years, you're going to get the winners either coming from Florida or New York. But in my opinion, I think people are sleeping on this Kentucky Blue team. The Stooley and the Swami, I think they may have missed a mark on this Kentucky team. I've got word that they picked up a few heavy hitters and that are going to help fill a couple holes, and they're going to come. I think Kentucky's going to surprise a lot of people this weekend, and they're going to change that from being a New York / Florida winner. I think they're going to surprise a lot. I think it's going to be Kentucky across the board. I think Kentucky Blue is going to win the majors, and I think Louisville is going to come out on top in the gold. I think Kentucky is going to surprise some people, my man.
Good pick.
Yep.
The key with Kentucky is keep them away from the moonshine. They'll be all set.
So it's funny you bring that up about the moonshine. So I don't know if anyone, everyone knows about Kentucky and the moonshine, but I was asked a couple days ago if maybe
and the tequila.
What was that?
How about Texas and the tequila?
Well, we're not playing in Texas, man. But I was asked a couple days ago to maybe give a shout out and let everybody know that there are going to be over 200 jars of shine coming down to Tampa, and you're going to there's apple pie and blackberry and raspberry and peach and all that stuff. So just you know who to look for, and it'll be there, and just know it'll be there if you're looking for it. So, and if you don't know who to ask, you can find me, and I'll tell you. I'll point you in the right direction. But I know that there's a couple things that you recently posted on the website. Maybe you want to talk about, and that's maybe the players' party, and then also the COVID restriction kind of thing. I don't know if you want to mention that while you're on.
Yeah, absolutely. If guys are listening, we did acquire Whiskey Joe's last second for players' party. Type of place that, from what I'm understanding, you're not going to want to leave. So we got it, I think, from 6 to 8 o'clock. It's going to be, we got a private area. From 6 to 8, we're going to have some appetizer type foods. And then from there, you guys are probably not going to want to leave. So Whiskey Joe's on Friday night. And as for the COVID thing, it's all about going through the motions with the whole county and stuff. They don't plan on anybody being there from the county. They're worried that somebody's going to show up, but it's, wear a mask into the complex, go through the motions. Once you get in, the mask is gone. They're going to take temperatures for the first 2 games. It's basically just going through the motions, and then after that, pretty much.
It sounds similar to what in St. Louis, where they were taking temperatures as you were coming into complex, and you just have a mask when you come in. Just make sure you got one with you and stuff like that. So
yeah,
in St. Louis, you didn't have to wear a mask when you were outside. Now, if you went into like the concession area inside, you'd have to put one on. But it sounds pretty similar to that, which isn't that big of a deal. So
no, and in Florida, I was just out last night. Everything's wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different world down here. So it'd be interesting. They just want to go through the motions. As being a county complex, wear it in. You probably never have to wear it again. You don't have to worry about being by the concessions or anything like that. So just go through the motions. Don't give the guy a hard time when he's taking your temperature.
Yeah.
He ain't looking to stop anybody from playing. So just let him do what he's got to do, and it shouldn't be a problem. So.
Well, good deal, my man. I'm like I told you before we came on. I booked that flight. I'm gonna be I'll be down there tomorrow morning, and looking forward to playing in this thing for the first time.
That'll be great to see you, John.
And we'll enjoy being able to try to make it out there also. So I think it'll be a great thing for us, because I'm all about the meaning of things, not necessarily, the things that matter to a team that's interested in, like, the fields or anything like that. It's always a bonus, but the meaning of it means a lot to us. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm happy that you're able to join us, Johnny, and be able to explain. Because Johnny, tell us about you, man. Because that's one thing that is with this podcast is very important, is when we show up to Vegas and we see somebody, this podcast allows us to be able to know each other outside the field, And so next time I see you, I want to know more than just what you shared with us about the tournament. What about you, man? So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm retired 2 years now, which is an unusual feeling after 30 years being on. But, the tournament, I was playing since '89. I was actually had a college baseball background, so I was lucky enough to get recruited onto a team that traveled and played the circuit and loved the circuit, fell in love with it. The whole partying, Terry, we used to take over hospitality rooms with a blender. You can ask Terry, we used to travel with a blender and come in and take over his hospitality room. So it was all about the fun. It was all about having a good time. We were a competitive team, but we weren't going to compete with New York Metro or any of those. We knew we were going to have some problems no matter what. But that small market team, scrappy, and just, came out and came for the whole, showed up for what's going on. It might be a benefit tournament, it might be a memorial tournament, but we're there. So that's basically my story.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate your service without a doubt. Eric, thank you for telling us that the Hounds are ready for 2021. I know they're always ready, man. It doesn't matter what year. But no, Johnny, thank you so much for joining us. I truly appreciate you coming out and explaining the tournament to us and the meaning behind it. And that's what the purpose of this podcast is, man, just to be able to enlighten people as to the meaning behind tournaments, to be able to know people outside of just being on the field, and to be able to, bring us together, especially in the off season, with police softball, the game that we all love and the reason we love it. So, Johnny, I appreciate you. And thank you so much for coming again.
Thanks, Johnny.
Joe, thank you and Trini. Thank you for what you guys do. It's great. Totally appreciate what you guys are doing.
Cool, man.
Bringing it to a whole other level. I love it.
Come on, Johnny. You didn't wear that fucking shirt for nothing. Come on, bro.
Flex off.
Tito's and vitamin water.
Johnny,
I'm getting my vitamins and Tito's at the same time.
I'm going to get Johnny, before it's all said and done, I will get Johnny to give us a bicep pose. I bet you I will. Maybe an ab pose. It might be a top ab only, but it's going to be an ab pose. We'll see. Hey, Johnny, thank you so much for your service, brother. I truly appreciate it, man, and thank you for coming on and joining us tonight.
Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Look forward to giving you a hug in person, man.
Thank you, Joe. I'll see you this weekend.
Yep, we'll
All right,
see you.
brother.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, man. That was cool, man. And what I really liked about that was that, you know, like I said, man, the purpose of this show is to be able to do that, to be able to, you know, to highlight tournaments, highlight players and what's going on in the circuit, give us a deeper understanding of what it is that we see, but maybe sometimes either take for granted or just not really know about, you know? So I think
it's awesome. He's 22 years running, and it's not even in the state that, you know, that he lives in or worked in, you know, and it's still running strong. You know, that's pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Especially that long, man. That's crazy. Deanna, so I know that we're going to talk about players doing great things off the field. And we got Dan McIntyre joining us here, but I know he's not here right now. So I think we're going to go back to, let's see here.
I think he shot me a text. He said he should be ready by 5:45, so maybe a few more minutes.
All right, that's cool. All right, so one of those things that we want to talk about was Dale Pickney. So Dale, it's anniversary, 3 years since Dale has passed, that, you know, we've been able to, you know, memorialize, be able to talk about and remember, you know, Dale's legacy. And I think, I don't know, Deanna, do we have a video? Okay, we do. We do have a video. So I'm going to play this video right now for people to understand who Dale and Jeff. So Dale Pickney and Jeff Blair, they created the PS.com circuit. So it's policesoftball.com circuit. And that's the circuit that you'll find most often that we're talking about on our show. And that's a picture right there of myself and Jeff and Dale at the policesoftball.com World Series. And it was really cool because I was able in a position to be able to have a couple of different awards, and I was able to talk to Dale. And one of the things I shared with Michelle in the last couple of days was how much I enjoyed our conversation. I didn't speak to Dale as often as other people did in the circuit. And I hear a lot of stories and a lot of things that people have said about him. But for me, my experience was when I talked to him, it was a very deep conversation that was very genuine. I mean, there were people coming up and wanting to talk to him, and he didn't break the concentration of talking to me, even though they were there. He gave me his attention, and then ultimately, you know, we addressed whoever was coming up or whoever wanted to talk or say hi or whatever. But that was one thing I thought was really cool about Dale was, you know, very genuine and very much into what you were saying. He didn't take it lightly. And Deanna, if you don't mind, before we bring Dan on, with the great officer doing great things off the field, let's roll this video real quick of Dale. What a great tribute. That's awesome, man. To be able to be remembered, 3 years after you passed, and in the sport that we all absolutely cherish. It's a cool thing, man, to be able to see that. Joe, one of the things that stood out from me is that, I see Jeff Blair, and I see Jeff, a young Jeff, and so I know the history there. You know what I mean? So it's Dell's not with us anymore, but when you see Jeff and Dell in these pictures, you understand the connection, and you hear about it, but it's not until you see it in pictures that you really get, how.
Schneider did a real good job with that. They gave him the credit there at the end. He did a real good job with that video.
Yeah, Snyder's cool job, man. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, you hope that something that you do in your life, will stand the test of time, and it's cool that 3 years later, here we are talking about him and being able to highlight, what he meant to the circuit. It's just really cool, man. So that's awesome. 3 years later, still impacts us very deeply. And in the short amount of time that I was able to talk to him and to get to know him, it meant enough to me to be able to include him in this podcast. And Joe, when I talked to you about everything that we were going to talk about, you're in 100% agreement. So awesome, man. It's great tribute. So, Deanna, I know that we've got players doing great things off the field coming up next. And we got Dan, the man, McIntyre, coming up. And something I love about Dan is what he does off the field, especially with Special Olympics. So I'm really excited to be able to highlight him and what he's doing here soon with the Special Olympics Polar Plunge. Now, we've come up with some challenging times because of COVID and all, but Dan's been able to make something happen for Special Olympics, and he was elected newly to a special position within the Special Olympics community. So I'm going to let Dan join us right now. Dan, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
What up, bud?
We're doing good. I'm doing really well.
Yeah, you look like you're having a little bit more fun than this garbage.
Yeah. Well,
Even though, didn't you guys get a little bit of this down in Texas?
we did, but it's all melted, and I flew the state. Ted Cruz tried it, but he couldn't. He wasn't able to do it, but I'm able to. So
You're a little less profile, high profile.
yeah, I know. And that kind of sucks because I thought somebody from the policesoftball.com community would say, like, dude, what are you doing there? We're all suffering, but nobody did. So Dan McIntyre, 16 years law enforcement director of the Windy City Classic, 2019 NPSC Del Pickney Inspiration Award winner. Huge. We just showed that, that tribute to Del. So that's a very big honor. The races police cars. That's what's crazy. He races cars in like a derby style type race. It's nuts. And he does polar plunges for Special Olympics, is what we're going to highlight. And listen, for you guys that are listening, when's it happening, Dan?
Tomorrow morning, first plunge started at 9 o'clock a.m., going 24 hours, finishing up on Saturday at 9 a.m.
We're going to talk about that. So make sure that we're going to include a link, I believe, Deanna, to be able to donate to Dan's efforts in this polar plunge. Okay, good. So we do have that. And he's the owner of Dynamac Sports, which is a badass sports apparel company, and they have gloves and things of that sort. But every year he shows up to the St. Louis Show Me Classic, and he's able to highlight his, which is my favorite, the Fallen shirts that he does, for all the officers throughout the year that have been fallen. So we're going to include that in description. But Dan, if you'll share it with us, tell us how, number one, we can, because I want to include that right now. Deanna can create a ticker while you're on to be able to tell us how can we donate to your Special Olympics Polar Plunge.
Well, absolutely, Trini, and thanks again for having me on. And
My pleasure.
the nice things you say, it's appreciated. So this will be my 9th super plunge for Special Olympics. I've been plunging since about 2008, but 9 years of super plunging. What the super plunge is a group of officers throughout the state of Illinois jump into usually Lake Michigan once an hour for 24 hours on the hour. However, this year being still in the pandemic mode, we've gone to virtual plunging where we're encouraging people to plunge at home. And myself and the newly appointed director decided to do things a little bit differently, or set up pools in 2 different remote locations, and are going to be plunging into those pools once an hour for 24 hours in order to raise funds and awareness for Special Olympics Illinois. If you want to make a donation, if you are friends with me on Facebook, I know there's a few of you. The rest of you are smart enough not to friend request me. You can go to my Facebook page, click on the link, and that'll take you to the fundraising page. The link through Donor Drive is fairly long, so it is going to be kind of hard to say that. But if Deanna does get a ticker up or creates a slide, that'll help out.
Well, you just cracked me up with that one. People smart enough to not friend me. Well, I'll tell you what, you have a lot of impactful stuff, man. So I'm happy that I'm your friend. So explain what the 24 hours is. What's it about? Because you talked to me earlier and you were talking about, like, I need to be able to sleep. Explain what you mean by that.
All right. So when I say once an hour for 24 hours, that's exactly what it is. So I just got off of work a couple minutes ago, and I'm actually heading over to a sponsor's house right now, a local locksmith, Suburban Lock in town. So it's Suburban Lock. Just donated $2,500 to our Polar Plunge, which was absolutely fantastic. I'm floored by it, and I can't wait to partner with him and his company in Special Olympics. So once I'm done with that, I'm heading home to start packing up. So I've got but he can't talk. Sorry, that was my phone. I'm heading home to start packing up. I've got to pack a bag with about 6 or 7 towels, a couple different bathing suits, a robe, some food. Let's see what else. Other necessities, kind of like you're going on an overnight stay, except for 24 hours worth of it. I've got some different costumes, and I'll be doing a neon plunge at night around the midnight hour. Probably throw a tribute in there for police softball. If I can find a jersey that fits. COVID hasn't been too good to me. And you know what, Trini, maybe I'll even go shirtless for one. But the 24 hours, so every hour, 9 o'clock a.m., jump in the water, out of the water to the RV that I rented in order to have access to a toilet and some heat later on in the day.
Michigan.
10 o'clock, jumping in the water.
Hey, Dan.
Hold on, I just lost my audio with you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, stand by 1 second. Camera, mic, audio,
police mode.
speakerphone.
Stand by for 1 second.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Give me 1 second, boys. I'm gonna switch this over. Bless America.
You there?
Yep. So sorry, my buddy called my phone right in the middle of the StreamYard, which put me over to my in-car Bluetooth. So I apologize, boys. Where did I leave off, or what did
you left off? You what's up with? Would you make some ravishing Rick Rude pants for?
So I was gonna give a shout out here to Gilly. So Gilly from Missouri Lawman is doing the Polar Plunge in Missouri, and my hat's off to you, Gilly. You know, that's great that you're doing good things down there in the Missouri area. But yes, I did make a pair of ravishing Rick Rude pants for you wrestling fans. And because Gilly did that, I made myself a pair and procured a long wig. I shaved my mustache, so that's going to be gone. But I'm also going to jump in a Rick Rude pair of pants just because of Gilly.
Hey, I'm going to need a picture of that, please.
Joe, I will give you as many pictures as you need. But Gilly's going to be up by you guys, or down by you guys, excuse me.
I'll tell you what we're going to do is I want to be able to donate $5 a plunge. So that's 24 hours.
This right
You know, people don't call me all day.
Can you hear me, Dan?
Hold on. You know, people don't call me all day, and as soon as I get out of on here, son of a bitch. Come on, where's it at?
Popular.
It's not fair because you're doing polar plunges, but you have all that
This is
hair,
terrible.
and it's not going to be the same as if I did it because I have zero hair. If I went in there, it'd be so much colder. You're going to have insulation.
Dan looks closer to a polar bear than you do, Trini. He's got that polar bear body kicking.
We lost him. Can
He's
you
gone.
handle the cold, Joe?
What was that?
Can you handle the cold?
In the water, you mean?
Yes.
The coldest water I've ever been in is probably upper 50s, and it sucked. It was terrible.
Mm.
Boys, I'm sorry about that. I tell you, you know, I don't get many phone calls all day while I'm working, but as soon as I jump on this podcast, my phone's blowing up.
But
So
you're
I
not gonna
apologize for
plug it, and that probably helps.
He didn't
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to donate $5 per plunge. So know that when you go there, because I can never do what you do. But at least we're going to donate $5 per plunge. So for 24 hours, it'll be a good thing. So just keep that in mind.
Hey, Trini, I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much for that. And I'll make sure to make sure they're winners for you, and they're not just me getting my toes wet like a good Jimmy Buffett song.
I'll tell you what, I know that Special Olympics is huge. I mean, if anybody out there does not understand what Special Olympics means to these kids, I promise you, if you show up to one event, I promise you, you will understand how these children absolutely appreciate what Special Olympics, the community and Special Olympics does for them. It's amazing. My son has been a part of Special Olympics, and when he goes there, he feels included. And a lot of times kids in Special Olympics feel excluded. They don't feel like they're a part. But with Special Olympics, they're able to feel like they belong to something, and they're able to stand out. They're able to enjoy the camaraderie like we do in police softball. I mean, Dan, tell me if I'm wrong. These kids love the camaraderie. I mean, it doesn't matter if they come in last place, first place. It doesn't matter. They enjoy it just the same. And when you see the smile on those kids' faces, when you see the volunteers high-fiving these kids, when they get done with a race or an event, you will absolutely get how important it is to these children. I think there's very few more meaningful causes than Special Olympics.
You know, Trini, what you just said actually was covered in a interview I had with the Sun-Times a couple days ago, talking about inclusion, talking about the smiles that we see on our athletes' faces. And that was one of the moments that recently, which just reaffirms why myself and my colleagues across the world are involved in Special Olympics, that I got to award an athlete a medal at a snowshoeing event at Winter Games last year. But what made it even more special is my 3 children were there to witness what was going on there and know what Special Olympics is about, and to see the absolute joy in the athletes' faces. They were sliding down the hills with the athletes on sleds. It was great. And like you say, it's inclusive. And that's one of the things that we're working for in Illinois more, is to be more inclusive and inviting our athletes out to more events, because it is about the athletes. So, I mean, you hit that nail right on the head, Trey.
Well, Dan, I just upped it to $10 a plunge. So we're doing $10 a plunge now for 24 hours. You're going to freeze your ass off, but you do have that hair. So I don't give you 100% credit, because if it was me, I would expect way more, because I will. Dude, look, check this out. I'm cold in that pool, and I'm in Cancun. Well, I'm actually about an hour south of Cancun, and that's cold for me. So you're polar plunging. That's why I decided to up it to $10 a plunge. So
yeah, I'm thinking before this podcast is over, you need to go do a cannonball in there as a ceremonial plunge.
Hell no, I'm
that'll be the way he signs off on this episode.
be buying 2 new phones when he gets back. Trini, I appreciate that, brother. And it's the when you talk about police officers, police camaraderie, and Special Olympics and being involved with the torch run is no different than being a part of police softball. And I was tuning in and out as my call volume allowed earlier, and I heard the specifics around the Brian Aselton tournament. And I really wish we can get down there this year, but it's just not in the cards for our team. But just hearing everything that was spoken about, I mean, it just hits home for many of us. On this date, I lost my partner to a heart attack up in Grand Rapids as he was training for a canine spot. And, it was a tearjerker hearing about Brian and how close he was to his friends down there, or up in Connecticut, excuse me. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that the unity in this police softball is great. And it's because of guys like Dell and Jeff that's had that vision up front, and guys like yourself, Joe, keep pushing it forward, and we just keep it going. And that's what we're like in Special Olympics and the torch run as well. It's really great.
I'm happy, Dan, that you're out doing what you're doing. It's a huge thing that you're doing off the field. People don't realize it when you show up with those crazy uniforms. Everybody starts talking about those crazy colors.
Yeah.
But I'm telling
Thanks,
you,
Jeff.
I'm going to tell you right now, we talked about this in the earlier podcast. When I met you, like really met you, it was at Joe's tournament in St. Louis Showman Classic. And I was like, this dude showed up. It was like the first game, your shirt was off. You're walking around, hair fucking in full bloom. And you just didn't give a shit because you had like your top abs showing, and that was it. There was no other abs showing. And you
2-pack, baby.
You were all about like just being in the moment. And I thought that was super cool. And that's when I was like, that dude's cool, man. He doesn't give a shit. For the right reasons.
But again, I mean, life is too short and that's how I feel. Life's too short for me to give a crap about what anybody thinks about how I am or what I do. I just don't care, unless it's going to obviously embarrass my family, which when I go shirtless at the pools on vacation, it kind of does. But, but you know what, Trini, based off of your generous contribution, I'm going to have to give you a shirtless plunge for sure. Yes. It's going to be a little chilly. Especially our local fire department's filling up that pool with some fire hydrant water, so it'll be nice and cold, hopefully a little cleaner after I put some chlorine in it. But other than that, I'm looking forward to it. And if any of you local guys are in the area, if you want to stop by and have a glass of water with me, because I can't promote anything else per the insurance, I'll be drinking water. I'll be at 1175th Street in Woodridge, right by the Coles. So
Dan,
you want to check out
what you need to share so that Deanna can create a post and then give it to Joe, and then Joe can post it on our police softball podcast. Joe, if you don't mind.
If you want, I'll shoot it over to Deanna in an email as soon as I hop off the StreamYard here.
Cool.
I'm trying to start up a YouTube channel just to make sure that it streams through, and all the Special Olympics stuff could be in one location, the races and all the other stuff, because that's one thing that I don't think I've done enough of with Special Olympics and the torch run is the documentation and the exposure and showing how much fun it is doing a lot of these crazy things. And we've always said, just one more, if we can grab one more person to feel that bond and jump on board, then we're doing our job.
Deanna, go ahead with that. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what Deanna.
Hello, my name is Daniel McIntyre, and I'm a Woodridge police officer, as well as the assistant director of the Illinois Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics. 2020 brought on many additional challenges for the athletes of Special Olympics Illinois. Many important programs were canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, this year, it's not where you plunge or how you plunge, but that you plunge. This year, I challenge you to grab a few friends and plunge at home. Your plunge can be as simple or as creative as you would like. Woo! That's cold. Go to plungeillinois.com to register. We need you now more than ever. On behalf of the more than 23,000 athletes and 13,000 young athletes, we thank you for your support.
How in the hell did you get that car out of that snow?
You talk about the car or my body?
Both.
Man, I'll tell you. So I got 4-wheel drive in my Tahoe, so it rolls pretty good. But I will tell you, that snow was so wet and heavy. It took every one of those 2 ab muscles to get out of that.
I got to see these 2 ab muscles that Trini's talking about. I don't know that I saw them when you were in St. Louis, man.
You know what? I'm trying to get out of COVID. I'm trying to get back to at least a 4-pack. You know, I want to be able to fit in my uniform again. But
no, but Dan,
you know what?
Thank you so much for what you do for Special Olympics, man. And like I told, like I was telling Deanna, I mean, let's document that, send it to her so we can put it on ps.com. They have a couple of days to be able to donate, and I want to be able to get you as much attention as possible.
You know, Trini, I appreciate that, and you know, Joe, I appreciate the laughs. I'll show you those two ab muscles. But hey, Joe, I agree with your predictions for this upcoming tournament. I think you're going to see a lot of heads get turned by Louisville and KY Blue this year. Both teams, from what I'm seeing, are looking really, really, really sharp. Not as sharp as our uniforms, but you know, they're looking really good.
They're
I
gonna
would say
surprise some teams down there. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I think so. You got good leadership on both of them. You know, yes, Abrams, I'm talking about you. But yeah, you know, thanks guys. Trini, enjoy that beautiful weather down there. I will do the same tomorrow. Joe, I don't know what it's like in St. Louis, but enjoy it, bro.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Thank you
guys.
so much, man.
See you,
Good night, everybody.
So that was awesome to be able to have Dan on there. I want to be able to highlight a few things that some officers are doing off the field also around the country. And I think, Deanna, go ahead and bring up whatever you want, and we'll talk about it. So we got, let's see here. I mean, that's impressive right there. All right, so this one here is from, let's see here. This is from some troopers. And these troopers were involved in, let's see here. Come on. I think it was in Ohio. Ohio's, if I'm not mistaken, it was from Ohio. These guys were over there and they were going through the snow, and they were able to have a great picture that somebody created to be able to support them. So check this out. We'll look at the next picture. If you don't notice, there's a dude shooting radar. He's shooting radar, you know, helping out the public with the speed on the highways. And I thought that was really cool. If you really look at that picture, I think it's really neat to be able to create that out of snow. That's a great picture. So shout out to the Ohio State Highway Patrol. What else do we have, Deanna? Oh, this is Oklahoma. So it's Oklahoma. So we talk about a lot of people who, you know, have a bad rap when it comes to different, you know, situations that have taken place over time. And this is Tulsa County Sheriff's officers. If you don't know Tulsa, I think, Joe, am I not mistaken that Indio comes from Tulsa?
He's in Blackwell, I believe, and that's about an hour outside. But JB and Tyler Cox and a lot of those guys that had played with us are from the Tulsa area.
So these guys over the storms helped out with flat tires. Now, how many times do you hear of officers helping out with flat tires? And this Tulsa, Oklahoma officer helped out with this flat tire. It was really cool because, I mean, who wants to get out in the snow and to be able to risk their lives? We had a San Antonio police officer that just recently lost his life helping out during the ice storms and was hit by a DWI, and so you can't take this for granted. So shout out to the Tulsa police officers for going out there and helping out with this situation. Deanna, what else do we have? Here we go. All right, so on this one, we're talking about an officer who actually was a detective, John Rollins. He retired after 29 years of service. He began his career in 1991 as a police officer reserve and was hired full-time in 1992. During his 29-year career, he worked for the following positions: Bike Patrol, motorcycle officer, community officer, SWAT team member, special operations, school resource officer, honor guard, and general assignment detective. His final position was general assignment detective, and his legacy is secured with the MPD, as his son, Officer Ryan Rollins, is one of the newest members of the force. His wife, Officer Robin Rollins, just retired 2 weeks ago. So it's really cool that this officer was able to retire. And let me see here real quickly. Let me see here. He was Middleton Division of Police. So very cool from our department. Let's see here. Where did he serve from? Trying to figure out where he served from. Let me see here. I know I had it. There's a problem with live. I have to be able to find out where he came from. Let me see.
Did you say Middleton?
Middleton.
I think there's a Middleton, Ohio. I don't know if that's that's where that's at or not.
Yeah. So that was a cool thing. Deanna, where's the next thing from? We're going to talk about Deanna.
Deanna left us.
There we go. So this is the Dallas Police Department. So this is an officer that was helping out again during the storms. Let me see if I can. So Dallas police officer here, Mitchell Penton, who was helping out during the storms in a traffic situation, and ended up getting hit by a driver during the storms, lost his life. And this is where we come from when it comes to police officers, outside of our law enforcement softball community, outside of the field of play, when they're contributing like this man did. I mean, when you go out there and you're serving, and I believe that Mitchell was young on the department, and he still was able to go out there and to serve his community and ultimately sacrifice, his life during a situation like this, during these ice storms. We want to give a big shout out to Mitchell Penton. This is something right here that means a lot to us. And so it's very important to be able to recognize, people in our community that are sacrificing themselves with their service to our community. So, Joe, that was a huge thing, that we just experienced over the last couple of weeks. And a lot of times people don't know this outside of our podcast, but it's important to be able to recognize these guys, and gals that are doing what they're doing day in and day out, and I know in your community, they did the same thing with all the riots, all the situations that have gone on. I mean, I've been super impressed with you and your supervisory position and everything that everybody has gone through, man. I really appreciate it.
You still there, bud? Or is it just me on the show now? Deanna, you there?
I came back. Yeah.
There you are.
It's It's the reception here. But anyway,
All good.
I realize what you went through during these difficult times, and I appreciate that, man. Thank
Thanks,
you.
man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Same thing. So what do we got coming up? We got tournaments coming up. What's the next tournament you're going to be involved in?
Well, I actually leave town tomorrow. I'll be down in Brian Aselton. I'll be down there about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'll be there. After that, we're going to be in Tulsa in April. We're going to be playing. It's all forces tournament, so there'll be some fire teams and stuff like that. But there'll also be a handful of the police circuit playing, and then obviously we got back-to-back tournaments where me and you and the rest of the Louisville Slugger 40 over team will be playing in Reno in May, and then we're going to be playing out in San Diego in June. So looking forward to all those tournaments.
Yep. So that's cool. So we got, don't forget our Keepers of the Peace tournament's going to be taking place in Waxahachie, Texas. Deanna, do you have something to highlight that? Yes, we're good with that.
What's up, Trini?
What's going on, brothers?
Where's Trini at?
What up?
What's your name?
Where
you from?
Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
All right, man. What do you do out there?
Work for patrol, second shift.
Cool.
Been with them 7 years.
Cool. What do you think about the tournament so far? We're in Waxahachie. I mean, you ever heard of Waxahachie before?
Yeah, I've actually been to this area about 4 times this past year.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mario, it's going to be a good morning. It's going to be a great game, right?
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, what do I think or what do I hope?
What do you predict? What does the other Swami say?
I predict that it's going to be a great game against 2 teams with class and admiration for each other.
Important dude right there. When everybody's arguing about why am I not here, why am I not there, all you gotta do is open up the book, huh?
Amen, amen, brother. It's all right here, black and white.
What's going on, man?
Buddy, how are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent. Thank you for your support, man. What are you thinking about, man? What do we got going on here?
I need to hit the ball. That's what I'm thinking about. Because I have not yet this game, and it is bad.
It sucks, man. I know it, getting to those ruts, but
yeah.
What are you gonna do differently? What's your mindset going into this next at bat?
I'm just gonna hit it.
You put together some badass videos, man.
That was great tournament. Great tournament. So I'll tell you what, Joe, thank you so much for joining us. I'm here now. Look, check this out. It's dark. So I'm going to go on and enjoy the rest of my vacation, but thank you so much for joining me. And I want to thank our guests for being able to make our podcast a success. really happy about highlighting the Brian Aselton tournament. Really happy about that. Yeah. So great job. Thank you, Joe, so much for joining us. Go back, do what you got to do, catch those guys that are doing wrong.
Hey, go have another drink for me tonight, man.
I'm going to do it. All right, man. We'll see you, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us.
See you, bud.
All right, brother. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. Police Softball Podcast. I'm Trini Trinidad. Don't forget, I got your 6.